So we just recorded a short video about a week ago on the generational divide between boomers and millennials and how it's affecting the housing market. And we got a lot of views and a lot of comments. And so I just wanted to address a couple of those comments. So as a recap, what we're seeing is that as our boomers are retiring, they're starting to move. They're downsizing, they're moving closer to family. And so boomers are probably our single largest source of new homes coming on the market. Millennials are getting advanced in their career, they're getting tired of apartments, and they're becoming one of our largest segments of home buyers. So one of the questions had to do with home prices. Well, let me show you an example here. So we just had a home that went sale pending yesterday. We had it on the market for $155,000. It's this cute little home, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, new roof, new furnace, beautiful move-in ready. And let's take a look at those numbers here. So if you were to buy a house today for $155,000 and you assume our normal rate of appreciation, which is 5% a year, in 20 years, this home is going to be worth over $400,000. What this means is for many people who buy a home, the home is one of their single largest sources of wealth. You have to live somewhere. You could live in an apartment, you could live in an RV, or you could buy your own home. So another question had to do with homes that are selling for $500,000, and they're like, who the heck is spending all this money on buying these homes? Well, what you have to realize is that most people do not live in their home their entire life. What they do is they start off buying a more affordable home, they do some work fixing it up, and they live in it, and they sell it after 5 or 7 years, and then they repeat the process. They sell it, they buy the next house, they do some work on it, fix it, update it, and so on. So let's take an example. Let's say that you bought a house today for $155,000. You lived in it, you did some work on it, and then after about 5 to 7 years, you sell that house and you sell it for about $250,000. And then you're gonna move up. You're probably gonna buy a little bit nicer house and maybe a little bit more space, and you're buying a $300,000 house. You live in it, you sell it, and you're buying the next house. So who's buying that $500,000 house? It's probably the person that bought their first house back in 1980 for $80,000. They rode the appreciation curve. They bought, they sold, they bought, they sold. And I think that's the American dream, is that over the course of the years, you can start in with an affordable housing, you make some improvements, and you retire in your dream home. Now, are there anybody out there that their first home's $500,000? Yeah, maybe if you're a computer programmer and you're married to another computer programmer and you're bringing in the dough, but it's not the reality. Most of our buyers are starting off affordable, and that's the American dream home. So one of the questions we had on the video is, how would a first-time home buyer even go about getting the money to be able to afford a house? And this is where I like to encourage my first-time buyers to meet with a lender. And we're gonna talk about some things. The first one is your income. Where is it at? What's our potential in the future? The second thing is our debt, and what can we do to reduce the debt? So here's an example. I recently worked with a young couple. They had graduated from college and they had bought 2 new cars. That was great, except for those car payments were really expensive. They made the decision they were going to sell one of those new cars and buy a used car. You know what that did? It freed up about $600 a month that they could put into savings and apply to a future housing payment. And the reality, if you compare what the cost of buying a house is versus renting an apartment, it's really not that far different. So the other thing to note is there are some phenomenal programs out there for first-time home buyers. There are some great loans out there, a VA loan and an FHA loan, where you can come in with 0 down payment. And you know what we can do? We can work with the seller and have the seller pay your closing costs. You know what that means? I have had buyers who bought a house with no money. Now, we had to have some conversations to make sure that this was the right loan for them, but we were able to get this amazing couple who bought their first home, and they could get in on a payment they can afford with no money down. I love seeing your feedback and comments on our videos, so make sure you leave a comment on this video. Let me know what questions you have, and make sure you like and subscribe so you can catch our next community video. This is Misty Mechke, Realtor with Hunsaker & Associates. Have a good one.